the old me, which is probably 6 months ago, would have been like, I'm not important enough for you to run into Goodwill. Oh, f- you. Oh my God, we're back again. I'm in the studio. Wow, it's Lisa Lampanelli. You're listening to the podcast that no one is talking about. Shrink This with Lisa Lampanelli. Shrinking means we shrink your problems, we shrink your heads, and we shrink your penis. And today, to help shrink our penises is, of course, our producer, Celia. Oh, she decided not to be on the mic because she's unprofessional. Because I have to school this bitch every week. Hi, Celia. Okay, watch this. Now she has to run to a mic. Okay, literally, who employs you?
Hey.
Do you get paid for this show? Because I object to every cent you're making.
Oh, that's okay. You can just tell my boss.
Okay, but just say hi, Celia. Because guess why I introduced you?
Why?
Because today is the rare all-female gender episode. Because Nick kind of identifies as a he, she, it. But we kicked him out of the studio today because we have a special guest, because the topic of friendship is always top of Lisa Lampanelli's mind, because I have no significant other by choice, no family by death. And so we have friendship expert Anna Goldfarb, who, by the way, I've become like best friends with.
For real.
Who wrote the Bible, in my opinion, on friendship called Modern Friendship. If you don't have it, get it. Go to bn.com. See, do you like that? Barnes & Noble. Yeah. See, I promote the little guys. Go to the other websites that carry the books. And get this book because it will save your friendships. It saved my ass. Anna, thank you for coming in.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure. It's so excited to be here with you. I'm so excited.
Poor Anna, she braved the torrential weather coming from Philadelphia. And I said, I hope you came for something better than this. And she's like, no, I came to see you. And I said, well, you'll be disappointed. But not like I haven't told that to countless men. So anyway, what we're going to do today is we're going to talk to Anna as a second part of our friendship episode, because a few weeks ago or last week or whenever, because like I do a lot, I can't like be responsible for remembering everything. We did an episode called Searching for the One, which means not in a romantic sense, but in a friendship way, because I seem to always be searching for the one, the person who's going to come in, be the bestie, so you can get them the mug and the t-shirt and get them the matching beer cozies, even if you don't drink. But it always seems to like kind of be a false start. And I don't know if best friendship is a false narrative or something real. So having written the book Modern Friendship, which by the way is fantastic, do you believe in the concept of the one or the best friend?
Well, I believe in the concept of roles, and the people in our lives play specific roles for us. And it really depends on the person of what kind of roles they're providing for other people and what other people provide for them. For instance, my husband is my companion. So that's a special role that he plays.
Right.
But one of my best friends, you know, she plays another role. She's my collaborator. When I want to try something new, you know, try a new lipstick, try a new restaurant, she's always down to do something new.
Right.
So it's more how these parts interact with us. One of the first things I learned about friendship was that friendships can end at any time for any reason. They're very fragile.
Yeah.
And so I understand, you know, questioning the construct of if something so fragile, like, is this something we should be pursuing?
Right.
Like, these things can break, you know, people. I mean, the world's a complicated, unpredictable place. People get depression. People get grieve, people lose their jobs, and that all influences who they seek out.
Right, right.
So it's more about learning how to be flexible and surf the wave instead of getting sucked under the wave.
So do you think I think from what I'm hearing, it sounds almost damaging to go out and try to look for the person who will fulfill everything friendship-wise.
Well, that's backwards. What you look for first is something you love to do. And then the goal is to find someone who loves what you love. Because every friendship needs an about. And the about needs to be clear and compelling to both people. So I think people do it backwards. They think friendship's about affection. And affection isn't enough to keep a friendship active. And that's where a lot of self-doubt comes in. Of, well, I love my friends, but I never hear from them. Maybe friendship isn't like so great. But what people misunderstand about the way friendship works is that It's really about finding something you love and want to geek out about, want to experience, and finding someone to do that with you. And that's when friendship develops.
That's such a weird, I mean, it's a great idea, but it sounds to me almost like how I've always viewed men have friendships. So meaning, I love baseball, so here are my guys from the baseball team. Or it's usually softball by the time they get over 30 because their knees don't work anymore. Or, oh, I love movies, so it's all my buddies who love movies. That sounds to me masculine, where women, I don't know, just me or women I've talked to, it's like, oh, no, something that but I could vibe with. It's more of like a fluid thing. It's not a tangible. So if I find if I have a hobby of, say, I love going to Broadway shows, right? Looking for a person who fulfills that, or running into somebody who's like, oh, you like that too? Cool. I was like, oh, are they just your Broadway show friend? How can that deepen into like an actual friendship where you're telling each other stuff?
Okay, that's a great question. And my favorite text to understand how friendship works is through Hollywood Walk of Fame speeches. Oh. If you've ever watched a Hollywood Walk of Fame speech, it lays out exactly how friendships develop and form and are maintained. One of my favorite ones is Matthew McConaughey at Guy Fieri's Hollywood Walk of Fame speech.
Are they friends?
They are close friends.
Okay, that's random, but I get it. They're both stoned.
There's photographic evidence of them playing bongos together. Like, they definitely connect.
Right.
But you can look this speech up on YouTube. Matthew McConaughey is sharing the story of his friendship with Guy Fieri, you know, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives,
sure,
Flavortown. And Matthew McConaughey explains, I was an actor going across the country in an Airstream. Oh my God.
I like a soda stream. That works for me. Yeah.
On an Airstream. And Matthew McConaughey loved the show Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And Matthew McConaughey says that he was going to be in Spokane the following week. So he reached out to Guy Fieri and said, hey, I'll be in Spokane. Where should I eat? What do you recommend? And Guy Fieri was like, oh my God, you should go here and here. These are my favorite spots. And they created a friendship around where to eat.
Oh my God, I love that.
So then Matthew McConaughey would check in. I'm going to be in Tucson. Where should I eat? I'm going to be here. Where should I eat? And that's what their friendship was about at first, like where to eat. But then what happened was that Matthew McConaughey moved to LA and Guy Fieri moved to LA. And then they connected over deeper values of family, dealing with fame, spirituality. And that's how their friendship deepened. And that's how they became like best friends for one another. So it started with the where should I eat? Yeah. But then it developed on values. So that's how it works.
That makes so much sense to me because I have a good friend, I've talked about him before, Bobby, and we met doing a community theater production of Barnum. Okay. Now, I am not the greatest actress, singer, dancer, triple threat of all time, one of the best, but not the best. So I'm like, oh, I like community. I like the idea of community. I like this silly theater thing we're doing. And at first I was like, okay, we have this in common, me and this guy, Bobby. He's only 32. So I'm like, well, how much could I really have in common with a 32-year-old guy? But then like over time of going to shows, of being in other little productions together and just like vibing and go to movies, he's a very available person, which I love because so am I. Like someone who'll be like, oh, let's go to the movies tonight. I love that. I'm not a big like, I got to stay in my house and like have my introvert time. And then over the, course of like 5 years, I'm like, oh, he has the same values I have. Like he has the same politics I have. He's very open to learning and going to the shrink and going to meditation classes and stuff. I'm like, oh, so it grew from just that little silly play. So I get it, but what it requires that I don't usually have is patience. So it sounds like with the Guy Fieri example and McConaughey, they put in the time and patiently were like, oh, let's see where this goes without the pressure of, oh my God, I've got to gather community or friends.
It's the patience of doing something you already love doing. That's the key. Studies show it takes about 200 hours to go from stranger to close friends.
Wow.
200 hours. So when we're younger, we have way more free time where our lives are simpler. We don't have to be as many things to as many people. So your friendship can be about, stuff in school, plays, what team you're on. But a lot of those abouts don't translate to when you get older.
Right.
So that's the trick, is we're getting older. What do I really care about? And then giving friendships time to bake, of like, let's spend a lot of time together. And that's where the values emerge. Actually, a mismatch in values is one of the top 5 reasons friendships buckle.
Yeah.
So values are really important, but that's not what kicks off a friendship. It's the about. And actually, I share a story in my book about my friend Adam, who worked at the Apple store, and he got a comic book, and his coworker Octavius noticed, oh, you're into comic books. And they started a friendship about comic books, talking on the phone about comic books, started a podcast about comic books.
Oh my God.
And what happened was Octavius was sick and needed a kidney transplant. And 2 of his family members had already been ruled out, like they weren't appropriate matches. But my friend Adam says, I'll do it. Like, wow. I want to help. And my friend Adam donated his kidney, saved his friend's life. And Octavius named Adam as the godparent to his newborn daughter. So now they're family.
Oh my God.
But it started with comic books.
Right.
Like, that's how powerful having a clear and compelling about can be.
Sure, but you know what I go to is, I need to know all your values first, because I'm not spending my time with some guy who voted for the demise of the gay community. So there's this documentary I'm only halfway through. I'm sure you watch it, Join or Die, on Netflix, about like how people used to join clubs all the time. Yeah. The Rotary, knitting clubs, libraries, like they used to do that, and people don't do that as much anymore, and it's sad. But I'm like, but what if I join? Suppose I have which I don't, a profound interest in knitting. Of course I don't. But suppose I did. Suppose I was that chick. Suppose I join it, and then there's a person in there who doesn't like the gays or who doesn't like black people. Like, how? Then I would probably not show up again. Yeah, because like if they like her, I can't like them. So how do you get around that way of thinking to open yourself up to the other maybe 4 or 5 people that might have your values?
That's part of the risk of making new friends. That's the risk of it, is you might uncover something, or even friends that we love and we have a lot in common with, but then they betray you or something happens. Yeah. Even though you it's so earthquaking, because you're like, I thought I knew this person, but then you realize your values aren't the same.
Oh, I hate that.
That's actually one of the questions I wanted to investigate, of how do I know if I'm picking good friends? I have a tattered trail of busted friendships. So like, was it me? Was it them? And I learned that these are very common things. Like, this is so common. But what's not common is we're meeting so many more people than our grandparents ever did. And
that's true. Yeah.
When you think of your grandma, my grandma was married at 18, never went to college. She was a stay-at-home mom. She wasn't meeting friends and then being blasted apart from them, and they're living all over the country, and she has to figure out how to keep up these connections. Her friends were people she's known since first grade. Wow. That all lived in the same town their whole life. I mean, it's just very different challenges than we have. That's part of the beauty and the burden of modern friendship, is we have so much more flexibility with who we can befriend. Just think of the interests we have that didn't even exist 60 years ago. Like, I'm really into Harry Potter. I'm into Harry Potter. Let's be friends. And there wasn't anything like that 100 years ago that people could. They usually got together over, we're in the same religion. We go to the same church. We're in the same race, same gender identity, same roles in life. We're both mothers. We both aren't parents. So it's harder for us to make connections with people where that's not what we have in common. So what our friendship is about? Right. We have to try a little harder. We don't have that built in of, our kids all went to the same school, or our kids grew up together. So that's historically new for women.
That's true. Like, my mother had the same group of 4 women all my life, and probably to the end of her life. Mostly these were her best friends. They met at church. And I said to her after she died, I said to her friend who's still alive, I think she's 90 now, I said, Mrs. O'Keefe, like, what did you guys have in common? She's like, we were moms. Like that.
Bingo!
And I'm
Thank
like,
you,
well,
Mrs. O'Keefe.
yeah, Miss O'Keefe's a badass, So it's like, oh, all right. So, but I don't have that, And also,
Yeah.
but I think what's funny is like I have my co-host of the podcast, Nick, and two other friends have met every Tuesday for the last 3 years, which is a long-standing commitment. And it started out that I was going to ostensibly help them with jokes. We don't even open a notebook anymore for the past year. We're just vibe every Tuesday. The diner owner knows to let us, check ourselves out. He's like, okay, I'm leaving. You guys lock the door. And I'm like, oh, it did start with an activity or an interest, like you say, which is comedy. And also my trigger of oh, I want to be involved is helping. I'm so helpful to a fault. And it's a fault sometimes. And then it did emerge that our values were similar. And that, nobody here is going to, be a racist, or no one here is going to be sexist, or, we're going to joke around a lot. But, we do kind of feel the same way about life. So maybe just finding those people through joiny kind of channels or community-based things does lead to something good.
Yes. And what could be helpful here is having the right language. Friendship is such an ambiguous subject, friend is an ambiguous word of what is a friend? What do we mean when we talk about friends? There's best friends, there's even 2 different categories of friendships. There's active friendships and nostalgic friendships. Of active friendships, we see them all the time. We have a very compelling reason to stay in touch. But we have our nostalgic friendships too, where there really isn't a reason to be in touch, even though we love them. We'd go to, a wedding or a funeral, but that's a little dark.
It's usually a funeral at my age. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You'd make the effort for those big events, but there's not really a reason to call them on a Tuesday. You don't have an active reason to be in touch.
Right. I almost think I tried to force those things too much.
Yeah.
I have several friends, and I'll put it in quotes, because probably good acquaintances who live in Vegas. And I think I had a fantasy that it would become a yearly thing. I'd go out and we'd all hang out, and it'd be these it's 2 gay couples, and myself and my friend Bobby would go. And we went, I think 2 or 3 years in a row, maybe, but I was noticing we weren't getting squeezed in as much as I thought we would. It would be just a dinner versus the whole evening. And I was like, oh, there's nothing wrong with this just being a little nostalgic, but also a little bit oh, they're not top tier, without making it sound so hierarchical, but that's okay. It seemed at first like it wasn't okay. Well, why didn't this happen? This was a total failure. It's no, if you're ever out there again, you can hang out. But if they're not top of mind all the time, it's almost making a judgment free about that.
Yeah, and it's not taking it personally. Well, what's our friendship about? Well, we live across the country. Do I help my friends in any practical way? Do they rely on me for anything? And if the answer is no, it's okay, well, I can kind of see why they're not making as much of an effort. They probably have people closer to them that do help them with running their lives and the things that are important to them or more important to them.
Right. So when you say the word help, do you think that has a part in most good friendships, a helpful sort of back and forth?
Well, that's a great question. And there was a study done in 2021 that found that the 5 reasons people tend to make friends are career, mating, what they call desirable qualities, which means that someone's really fun to be around. There's chemistry, and there's hobbies and passions in common. It's attractive to be their friend.
Yes.
Emotional support was the 4th reason. And the 5th is what they call sociability, which is basically out and about. You want to be at the diner, be around other people. You want to join the kickball league or the book club just to be in the mix. And so when we talk about helping our friends, I find it helpful to narrow down to those spheres of, am I helping my friend with their career? If you have a friend where you're not in the same career, it can be they might want to prioritize. If they really care about their career, they're probably going to prioritize people that can help them with that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was really like a light bulb moment for me of like some of my older friends from childhood of like, well, why aren't we in touch? But we're totally separate career fields.
Right.
So like, what are we going to talk about? We usually talk about our past. And how compelling is that? Well, maybe every 8 years you want to talk about the past. It's not every week.
Right. Oh, wow. Yes. Yes.
Yes. And with mating, that's a lot more like when you're younger and you want to, have friends introduce you to other people. You want to meet people through other people. But honestly, 40% of people meet their partner through apps, dating apps.
Right.
So it's not even like you need friends anymore to necessarily meet a
partner.
partner.
It used to be where, I have this great guy in my college class and they'll introduce you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now it's like you're just swiping. So friends have sort of taken on, they're not as important in that sphere. Emotional support is I passed desirable qualities. Desirable qualities will always be attractive.
Yes.
But it also might be short-lived. If we're into marathons and then you break your leg, well, what's our friendship going to be about? What are we going to do together? Right. So it needs more negotiation. There's potential. It might need more negotiation. Emotional support. If, a lot of women, their friendships are just running on emotional support. But then, if one friend has a baby or has a health issue where that can't be the priority, I can't just give emotional support out.
Right.
I have my own stuff going on. So this isn't as compelling to me to be my emotional support for my friend. So then it's like, well, what's our friendship? Why should we be in touch?
That's interesting. Yeah. Because I had a friend during the pandemic and right before who I guess she was starting a business and having a baby at the same time. And I was doing neither. So I remember I was all really hurt and took it very personally that we finally had arranged a phone call. And she's like, hi, what's it been, like 6 weeks since we talked? And I go, it's been 6 months. And she's like, no. And I go, no, dude, I swear, it's Lisa. Like, did you, I wasn't being sarcastic. I was like, that's who you're calling. Like, it's been 6 months. She's like, you gotta be kidding. And I said, look, I know how hard it is because I have a niece who just had a baby. It must be all consuming. You have no idea. And I'm sure she's right. I'm sure I have no idea, or at least barely an idea. And I said, well, maybe we could do something where like, I don't know, like check in every 2 weeks or whatever. I don't have the bandwidth. I just can't have anything more added. And like, I never heard from her again. So I'm not saying I handled it right. I'm not saying she handled it wrong or vice versa. But I think when someone's focus is so elsewhere, they don't have any time for any ancillary stuff. So it just felt really sad to me.
You know what I did when I was faced with that situation with one of my best friends who had 2 children during the pandemic. By the time I finally sat down with her, it was about easily 6 months since we'd seen each other.
Yeah.
Probably longer, honestly. And the first thing I said to her before the waitress even dropped off our menus was, I think about you all the time, and I know you think about me all the time too. It's okay. I know that we're not able to see each other as much as we want, but I'm always here for you. I'm not going anywhere.
See, that's why you wrote the book.
That's why I wrote the book.
Mine would be called Call Me, Cunt. You know, it's just like, all right.
But the impact of that, of giving my friend permission, of I know that you miss me. I miss you too. I know you wish we could be together more, but it's okay. I'm not going anywhere. The following year for her birthday, she said all she wanted for her birthday was a slumber party with me. And she rearranged her life and we had a slumber party together. But since I gave her permission of saying, I give you the benefit of the doubt here. I love you. I'm not going anywhere. Our friendship now I do have that friendship I wanted where we make an effort.
Well, I think that's the problem. My issue of whether it's a anxious attachment or whatever it is dictated, well, she probably doesn't think of me.
That's your own narrative.
So, yeah, of course. And it was just like, handling it that way would have not even dawned on me because I couldn't fully say, I know you think about me all the time. I mean, because in my head, I have an anxious attachment. So I'm probably like, she probably doesn't think of me.
No.
You know, so I think that's okay to like grow from that. And Be like, all right, so that was my shit to solve. And that's why I like your book, because it like kind of puts it on you to solve your shit too. Like it's not always about, writing a narrative about that other person and how they've wronged you or how they've effed you. You know, because I listened to your book fully on a ride from, this is wild, because I was so like annoyed with a friend of mine that I just was driving. I had a 13-hour drive. I'm like, I'm going to find a friendship podcast. So I hear you on, I think, Friendship Forward, is
Danielle
Bayer Jackson's podcast, which is excellent. And I hear an episode with you and I'm like, I like this bitch. And then I like go, does she have a book? Yes, she does. So I listened to it on the 13-hour drive. And by the time I got home, I was like, I kind of know so much more about friendship. I know how to not handle this friend I was annoyed with, what not to say, and really just let her be her and not look for every single thing in her that I thought she should have putting in my direction. Recognizing limits. Like people have different limits, which is why, how important do you think it is to have friends who are in your circumstances? Like meaning, should I have friends who are around my age, retired so they have more free time, in the helping professions, like whatever it is, divorced or without a partner and don't want one, without kids, without grandkids? How important would it be to find people or recognize people in your same life situations?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't thought of that because I've been so focused on how desire works in a friendship, and it's about what do we talk about? So if I have friends that are much younger than me, and what I learned is I think that we're better daytime friends. Nighttime, I prefer to be with older people who want to eat dinner at like 5.
Right.
I'm not trying to eat dinner at 9 and then listen. What can I say?
Yeah, no, I get it.
No, I don't want to whip out an Alka-Seltzer after a hangout.
Yes.
But that's more lifestyle preference. Let me think how important. It's not like I'd seek out people that were my circumstance, but I might naturally find more commonality and might be more rewarding hanging out with people who mirror certain parts of my identity that are important to me.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's just, it's interesting because when you have a lot of friends who are younger, which most of mine are, they have less free time and less, they're sort of still in the career thing and in the, marriage thing or the kids thing. And you're like, are they going to even get what I'm talking about? So it's almost like you want somebody to fact check things with sometimes. Like, okay, you understand how it is to have a lot of free time and not as much to do as you'd like. It's like, no, I don't get that. Like, how could they get it? So maybe it's just if those develop naturally, they just develop. And it's like a hard thing to seek out.
That's part of the modern friendship challenge is that we're able to be friends with more types of people, but the trade-off is that we might be in different life stages.
Right.
That's the trade-off of modern friendship. We don't have to only hang out with people our age, but then the trade-off is you might have more churn because you're in different parts of your life and experiencing different challenges.
Right. Like I love someone who can either say, oh my God, I went through that too, or at least have the emotional bandwidth to be like, I've never gone through that, but I understand that might be tough, which is why, this 32-year-old friend of mine, Bobby, just like he has enough emotional bandwidth and works on himself enough with therapy and things that it's like, I get that must be hard when such and such happens, even though I've never been through it. Almost we just want to be, as corny as it is, just seen and heard and validated somehow.
It'll be interesting when he goes through different stages, if your friendship is able to weather those changes too. Like that's really the modern friendship, like the ultimate modern friendship challenge is how do we surf these waves together?
Right.
Because they are going to change. Like that is certain we will change. Studies show we lose half our friends every 7 years.
Wow.
And that's a staggering figure, but it's also, we change. The kinds of people we want to be around is going to change as we go through different phases of life. Now I'm aging into people where my friends' kids are teenagers and getting older. So to have a friend with a baby is like, I don't want to deal with some baby.
Yeah.
No, like I like the independent kids that I already know that, and being like an auntie to them. And so my own preference has shifted too of,
right.
I don't want to go. That's not as appealing to me or as compelling to me. But it depends on who the friend is and
true
what we're our friendship's about.
So if people lose half their friends every 7 years, I, up until recently, was like, well, I must be a failure because all my friends are from the last, or 90% of my friends are from the last 5 to 7 years. So there's something wrong with me because I don't have the 35-year friend.
No.
And then you see a lot of TikToks. I love the TikTok of like, if your friends don't grow at the same rate you do or in a similar path, like you're not meant to be friends anymore. So there's more permission around it. But I always felt like, there's something wrong with me that I don't have. Because look at every movie, every TV show, the childhood besties and how that goes. And it just was like, whoa, there's something that I'm doing wrong.
No, I literally want to like slam my fist on the table, on this very nice table of, no, there's nothing wrong with you. It's our culture of we move around more. We move around more. And our identities are so much more dynamic than they were, however many generations ago. The things that you've done, the places you've been, the kinds of people that could understand and relate to it and respect it. Like, I think there's just, that's something a lot of people are experiencing is, if you stayed in your hometown and just had the same job for 50 years and were part of the same church for 50 years, you probably could have the same friendships, but would they be as dynamic? Would they be as compelling to you? Would you want that?
Right.
You probably wouldn't. You'd probably want to find the people that are like shaking things up and, are obsessed with the same things you're obsessed with.
Yeah.
So I see your past as a total triumph. I mean, it shows just how flexible you are and that you're meeting all different kinds of people, and these relationships were not available to women in our age bracket not that long ago. This is historically new. You're a pioneer.
Well, it's true because, again, like I have a fantasy that my mom's friendships were so great. And maybe they were, but I don't know. Maybe they were very surface level. Maybe there was deep love there, but oh gosh, I don't have much to talk to her about.
These older friendships, like my grandma had her best friend from first grade, and I always felt like sad I didn't have it. But I also think there's a burden of having someone so long where you feel like you have to keep it up because it's been so long.
You're right, because I actually had a friend break up. I talked about this on the other friendship episode. We knew each other for 35 years, and I ended it when my mom got sick because of a small spat. But clearly looking back on it, it's like I was such a caretaker the whole time. And it wasn't her fault. It wasn't my fault. I was too helpful. I was too advicey. I was too running to your rescue all the time. And her part in it was that she didn't say, I'd rather that dynamic didn't continue. So we were both at fault. But I was like, wow, that's weird to end a 35-year thing and not feel some type of way about it.
I think that's so relatable because we aren't taught these skills. We aren't taught. I mean, there's such an importance on friendship, but there's no education around what does that look like? What does that look like?
Right.
And friendships, taking a step back, isn't a failure. It's really just part of modern life of what is our friendship about and is it compelling? And if your friendship was about emotional support, but the emotional support wasn't healthy,
yes,
you didn't have the knowledge to pivot or to say, well, you're really important to me. I want to spend more time together. Like, what can I do to help you with your life today? Like, what can we do to reset? What can we do to renegotiate this?
Right.
It sounds like you didn't even know those were options available. There wasn't
No,
even the language.
and that's what's funny is all this self-forgiveness for not knowing those things. Because even 5 years ago, I didn't know that's how you talk.
No.
You know, like even now, I'm like, I always say I talk to my straight guy friends a lot more abruptly than my female and gay friends because I'm just like, hey, fucking straighty, why didn't get a call back? It's like I am still learning like how you say things. And so you can't be mad at yourself for the knowledge you didn't have, but I'm always sort of like, was that terrible? You just have to forgive it.
This is why I'm such a evangelist about friendship, is because, you know, I start off my book with this story about how I lost my dad to COVID. And right before he died, 6 months before, he told me that he was missing a childhood friend that they'd fallen out of touch with.
Right.
And I wanted to help my dad, just like you. I'm like, let me solve it. I want to solve it. I'm a journalist. Let me solve this for you. And, you know, I'm like, Dad, here's his info. Go write him an email. Reach out. And my dad was so just crushed by anxiety. Like he was so afraid of what, he didn't know what the response would be, that he just didn't, he talked himself out of it. He didn't do it. And 2 days after my dad died, I reached out to his friends. And what I learned, and I broke the news that my dad had passed to him. It was, these friendships define us. And I know my dad did not have many regrets, but the fact that there was this distance from someone he cared so deeply about really bothered him. And while my initial goal was to heal my dad, what I ended up doing was healing his friend.
Wow.
And, you know, his friend said, like, can I call you? Like, can I talk to you sometimes? I'm like, you can call me anytime. And we marveled that he knew my dad the first half of his life, and then I knew my dad the second half. But together we kind of had more of a complete love for him.
Oh, I love that.
So this is why I'm an evangelist about friendship, because it is so deep, and the stories we tell ourselves can really interrupt the connection we're seeking. We're craving connection with these people. And if we can understand it a little bit better and understand how people make decisions now, we can operate with more information.
Right. Yeah, because we didn't have that information.
No, this is really new. This is a really new field of study compared to like romance, and, you know, there's so many books about how to negotiate romantic relationships, but this is a newer field, friendship.
Right.
And the research I did, I feel like it needs to be shared and shouted from rooftops of, this is what modern friendship looks like. It does not look like TV, where you have monogamous friendships for 20 plus years, no friction. Everyone stays in the same place, and like even the same apartment. It's like, that's not how people work.
I know. It's like I have the Golden Girls fantasy.
Yes.
I have the Will and Grace fantasy. And like it's never quite that. But then what if I really step back and look at what I do have now? I'm like, oh, it took me 7 years, but I kind of have like all those elements. They just don't look like a TV show.
It doesn't look, and TV shows are great when you need an arc.
Yes.
But friendships aren't like that. There's
no.
Like you know, they are more fragile, but I also want people to know that they're more knowable than it might seem. It is knowable of, well, how do people work? Why do they pull people close? Where do I fit in with these reasons that they're looking for to make friends? What am I bringing to the table? And then you can start increasing your chances. Like if our friendship is about emotional support, maybe I should learn a little bit about how to give emotional support. Maybe I should learn that giving advice and saying, you should do that. You should see my doctor. You should see that. You should go there.
God.
You should see this. Like, that's dominating your friend. They're not going to like it.
Yeah.
So if this is what our friendship's about, let me learn a little bit about this so that I can be a better friend to them. Let me know where to like play the note to make the music play that I want to play.
Yes, I recently just learned that you're supposed to ask, which it works, you know, do you just want to vent or do you want any advice?
Vent, listen, or a hug.
Yeah, because honestly, most people just want to be heard. You know, and if I want advice, I'll ask. I'll say, what do you think I should do? Like people will ask.
Yeah.
But see, that's the book is Modern Friendship. Look at, isn't this great how I like have my announcer voice on now?
It.
No, but the book, that's why the book is like a lifesaver. Modern Friendship. It's the Bible. Get it. It's available everywhere. It's so fucking good. It saved more than one of my friendships. And those people don't even know it did because I'm stealthy. I just shifted my behavior because of your damn book. So there we go. And so what we're going to do is we take letters and calls on the podcast. So Anna, I have letters that Nick and I have answered about friendships, and I want to see if we were on the money or totally off the mark. So I'm going to read those to you if you're game and see what your take is.
Let's do it.
Okay. I hope you're smarter than Nick because most people are. Dear Lisa, my friend for the past 20 years was my college roommate, but for the last few times I hung out with her, I realized we don't have much in common anymore. I have many friends now that I would call before her if I needed something. Do I need to replace her and name a successor, or can I just not have a best friend? Thanks, Maria in Savannah.
Wait, her options are...
Yeah.
So
She either can replace her, take applicants, and like deem someone worthy of this honor.
That is like a really interesting way to look at it.
Okay.
What I'm hearing is that her friendship with this friend went from an active friendship where they had a lot in common,
Yes,
to more of a nostalgic friendship where they don't really have a reason to be in touch. So it's more like the natural churn of these types of friendships where what was her about as a roommates? Probably going out, meeting people.
Yep.
And you grew out of it. It's okay.
I think that's the problem. We don't feel we have permission to be like, oh, we're different. It's fine.
You know, social media really scrambles our brain because you see a flattened list of everyone you've ever met from all different parts of your life. And the reason social media feels lonely is because you're looking through these people, but they only share common history with you, not with each other.
Right.
So it feels like you're going into different rooms and closing the doors, but you're not with, no one's traveling with you through these doors.
Right.
And social media is not reflective of your actual social circle. You're getting way too much information about too many far-flung contacts that you don't really need to know. Your fourth grade best friend's third daughter just got a gymnastics title. It's like, you don't need to know that, okay?
Yeah.
Social media has convinced you that you need to know this, but you don't. So long story short is the way that your social life should look like, you should have, 3 to 5 close friends. That's what studies say.
Oh, okay.
3 to 5 close friends. And what feels even better is if they consider you their best friend. If 3 to 5 people point at you and say, that's my girl, she's my best friend, that's the best place to be in. So it's not just that you pick best friends, it's that you befriend with people you admire so that they would pick you as their best friend.
Yes. Like I always say, I said last time, I have 3 people who would say they like me best, but I don't like them best. I like them best as a threesome. Not as a threesome. That sounds sexy. But like I like them all. Not one of them is the best friend. So I think the problem here is title. That we think we have to have a language around this thing. It could just be like, oh, she's a nostalgic friend, and that's cool. We don't need to have a replacement best friend. Just you've made other friends, and that's fine.
Yeah, it's like it is sort of like planting seeds of like, let me see what can grow. Let me see what feels right for me right now. Let's see what I'm interested in right now. Yeah. And then find people who are interested in that thing and then see where it goes.
Right. Okay, Maria, you have your marching orders. Figure it out. This one certainly had us in an uproar. So this is one of my hot buttons. Dear Lisa, I have a few friends who say their husband is their best friend, which I find insane. Same girl. Because I don't even want to look at my husband sometimes. I feel like I must be doing something wrong, or are they just freaks? Thanks, Michelle, Washington, D.C. Now, I personally, the way I look at this is, it seems like it's fine to say your husband's your best friend or your wife's your best friend, but not your only friend. Because I find that odd. I find that like looking for one person for everything feels wrong. But then here I am spouting off about best friends. So I'm kind of applying the same logic to that. So first of all, what do you feel about people who say their spouse is their best friend?
Well, I have a few thoughts on it. Research shows that men usually identify their significant other as their best friend.
Yes, that's what we said, because men are stupid. Okay, go ahead.
Men really like how women are awesome. So
Yeah,
there's like,
that's true.
I'm going to roll with her.
Yeah.
But for women, it's usually a significant other and a best friend. Women usually have two in their most intimate tier.
That is absolutely true.
So it is that alone requires negotiation of, women. Let me start over. Studies also show that in midlife, women tend to want more interdependence with their friends. They want to be a part of their friends' lives. They want to care and nurture. Men tend to want more independence from their friends because they don't want to be criticized or judged.
Wow.
Because men are assholes to each other. So just with that, that's what you're dealing with when your best friend's a guy. He's probably retreating from his other guy friendships. But women tend to still want to maintain their other friendships with other women. Generally speaking. I think that it could be more helpful to understand the roles we talked about. Tom Rath wrote a book called Vital Roles. Mm-hmm. And he helped me see that, well, my husband's my companion. I go out for dinner with him. We share bills. But my best friends play different roles for me. I have a best friend who's a mind opener. She always tells me new bands or like new movies I should watch.
Wow,
she
I
plays
love
that role for me.
Yeah.
And it's not that my husband's more or less. It's like it's part of the tapestry of our lives. And I think if you're too narrow about it, if my best friend's one person, you really should have like a web of friends that play different. Like you play different roles for too.
Sure.
So my book can help you understand those roles better and help understand where people in your life fit in. But I don't think it's accurate for women to say that their husband's their best friend. I would kind of want to sit down with her, give her a glass of wine. What's going on?
Yeah. I do think women need more than that.
Yes.
Just like you're right, a web of people. Like, because every good relationship I can think of that I know of or that they present as good, I see them both having other friends.
Yes.
That the sort of us on a lifeboat thing is weird to me in this day and age.
It is weird.
I get it for like years ago. Okay.
I get the appeal of like, I don't want to have to rely on other people. People are unpredictable. People can betray you. People can, when you've had trauma, I can see how it would be a relief to be like, I don't want to have to care about other people.
Right.
But that's not how we're built. Humans aren't built to be marooned alone. Like we need other people. And, the chemicals that are released when you help other people, it feels so good to be needed. I mean, we have to figure out the boundaries around that.
Yes, of course.
But we're designed to help other people. And that's just a gift you give to the universe of you have so many talents and you're deeply caring, you have good integrity. Like, don't you want to share that with other people?
Correct. And I think what's funny too is whenever I'm looking at my friends and their husbands, I don't want to be thinking, wow, I can't wait till he dies so that we can just be best friends. You know what I mean? Like, and again, most of my friends' husbands are really cool, or else they wouldn't have picked them. Like they're deep, they're spiritual, they really are just gentlemen. None of my friends is with a douchebag, because then it actually fades out for me. I always am like,
yes, of course.
He's an active alcoholic. That's not right for me, and you picked him, so you got to go.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't want all my friends' husbands to die. So we're going to work on that privately. Okay, here's another one. Hi, Lisa, Jess here, 17. Oh, 17's hard. From Portland. I know you probably roast me for being dramatic, but I'm stressed. Every show I watch, has that one amazing best friend duo, and I have acquaintances. People I sit with at lunch, everyone's like, oh, your best friend should feel like family. And I'm out here like, okay, what if I'm the side character in everyone else's story? I try to put myself out there, but people are either flaky, weirdly intense, or just kind of meh. Is it okay to feel like I've missed out on the magical Is it normal to feel like I missed the magical friendship boat, or do I have to wait until college and hope someone shows up who gets my weirdness? And the first thing I was like, poor thing. You're 17. I mean, honestly, same. I've felt this way. Oh, I'm the second one in command to everybody, but I'm never anybody's first. But I feel with this one, there's time. What do you think?
Well, the great news is that your best friendships are ahead of you. I mean, certainly, it sounds like this person's doing everything right. That's what you do at 17 is you try a bunch of different friend groups. You see who are your people. You get it wrong. You pick the wrong people and you get your heart broken. That is the goal. It's not to be locked in. It's to try different things. I don't think, it's a shame that TV has propagated this message of, the soulmate, the one twin flame or whatever.
Oh my God, literally twin flame. Literally, yeah, because every movie you see with there was that one where it was a great movie and it was about where the two girls had to drive to get Plan B. The pill. And there was the two girls in, I think it was that movie 18. I can't remember. But it's always two weird besties.
Yeah.
But maybe you're a weird bestie, you find them at 50.
And also sometimes friends are good enough. Sometimes you try the weird friend and then you realize you don't have the same values. And then it crashes and burns. And it's well, I valued them for these reasons. We like the same bands. We like the same this. But we actually don't have that much in common with our values. So this person is right where they should be. I do not think they should beat themselves up. I think if they want to understand friendships more, they're welcome to read my book. And as a preview, here's how people make decisions with their time. And maybe a better goal is, who can I help with things that I care about? I really care about, being in plays. Well, who else is doing plays? How can I pitch in and help?
Yes.
And then that can grow. You have to put yourself in a position to grow. Right. Another thing is our personalities really impact who we befriend. Researchers call this trait agreeableness. And agreeable means that you think people are generally trustworthy. You're more likely to befriend people. Big Bird's agreeable.
Right.
If you're Oscar the Grouch, who's well, I don't know, people are out to get me, I better watch my bag. If you're more guarded, it might be harder to stick around long enough to meet, to let friendships grow.
Right.
So I guess I'd want to know about their personality. If you're open, help people with things they care about. That's the shorthand. That's
a great point, because if you're joining in to help at Planned Parenthood, you probably have values that line up, and maybe something will spark with one of the other people who is volunteering also. It makes a lot of sense. If you're volunteering at a soup kitchen, you probably have at least something in common.
Yeah.
And I think my problem, and might be hers too, is everyone has to agree on everything, and we're all going to be a crew. It's going to be like Cheers. Cheers wasn't like Cheers. Stop with the TV and film shit. That's the problem. We're not side characters. We just have to figure out how to be a side character with some and a main character with others, and then not a character at all in some things.
Yeah. Well said.
There's one last question I have for you that Nick and I discussed. How about this? Dear Lisa, my best friend doesn't consider me her best friend. Oh, she picked someone else to be her maid of honor, even though she was mine at my wedding. Do you think this matters? Do we both have to be each other's number one? Emily in Vancouver is confused. What do you think? Again, this artificial construct of best friend. What do you think? Especially around a wedding. Do you find with the wedding stuff, it's just so highly charged, adds this other layer?
It totally adds this layer. It's very public, and it feels like a statement about your worthiness as a friend. It's like a public assessment of,
right.
I would encourage not knowing anything about this friendship, not knowing anything about this friend. If she explained to you, I wish I could pick you as my bridesmaid, but, I have to pick my sister-in-law, or I've been really deepening my friendship with this woman and I see another role for you. What if you were to do this? I don't know how she framed it. It's not surprising. things like that happen in weddings.
Do you think something like that is enough to tear a friendship just apart? Oh, I picked you, you're not picking me?
It doesn't have to be that way, but I could understand it happening because I think there's a grieving there of this friendship isn't what I thought it was.
Oh.
And so she's probably reeling from that of I thought, I've had that happen of someone I thought was a best friend didn't invite me to be a bridesmaid. I don't know why. Maybe she thought, oh, Anna's really poor. She can't afford to fly out. And I was living at home with my parents at the time. Maybe she thought it was a kindness that she wasn't, signing me up for endless trips and dresses. Like, I don't know. She didn't explain to me why I wasn't picked. And it did have a cooling effect on the friendship of I didn't feel like I wanted to invest as much because she didn't invite me.
Right.
In her wedding like that. And I lost confidence in the friendship. So I understand it.
Sure.
Now, knowing what I know about friendship and feeling like I'm more emotionally mature, I realize weddings have so many layers of like obligation. Sometimes it's not always a meaningful statement. It's just how the cookie crumbles. For instance, I got married at 39. Which is old as fuck. I had like crow's feet as a bride.
Don't worry. My second one was at 50. So I get it, girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was 39 and I didn't invite any of my friends from childhood. It wasn't practical. It's like, well, you're going to fly. Don't fly in. Don't worry about it. I'm 39.
Right.
They probably could have interpreted that as me making a statement about, but really our friendships were more nostalgic at that point than active. And actually one of my best friends didn't even attend my wedding reception. She had to work. And I could have interpreted that as, wow, I don't mean enough to you. You're going to work on my wedding.
Right.
And here's what I did. I said, I totally get it. I love you. We'll celebrate on our own. And she sent me champagne and some glasses, and she gave me a really nice gift. And because I was so understanding, she wanted to continue being my friend into the future. We're still best friends.
See, so I think it comes down to a lot of it is that not taking it personally.
Yes.
Because, and also the honest conversation too, of like, we got invited. My sister's best friend's kid is getting married in a very remote town that it would cost her family probably $6,000 to get to. And my sister's not poor, but she's like, that's a lot.
That's steep.
And it's a long journey. And she thought about it and just, they had an honest discussion. She said, you know how much I love you. You know how much I want to celebrate your kid. But that's too much money for us right now.
Yeah.
And like, the lady didn't take it personally.
Yeah.
And it's great when you can have that talk. I think a lot of this comes down to communicating, which everything does, acceptance of where they are, accepting
Safety.
Where you are.
Yeah. Like,
and not taking it personally. Because I have a notebook on it that says notebook of imagined slights, because everything someone does is a slight to me, and that's usually no one's really thinking about you in the right way. Like they're not going, I'm going to fuck her over. I'm not showing up for that wedding. I'm working instead. No, she's thinking I got to earn a living.
Yeah. And people would want to be friends with someone who's more flexible thinking.
Right.
Someone who gives them the benefit of the doubt and who doesn't, take issue. I learned I want to be the kind of friend that people want to keep around. So how do I modify my behavior and my thinking so that these friendships can continue? But I've been on both sides of it, and I've been very hurt by it. And I've also been very flexible, and I got you, girl. I get how important your job is to you. I'm cheering you on.
Right.
We'll celebrate another time. Like, I've been on both sides of it. So it really depends on the friendship.
And I think also a lot of it is us not wanting them to earn it. Meaning, I have a friend who, like, I love ever since the election. I was like, I'm going to thrift and I'm going to buy vintage and secondhand, and I'm not contributing to this fucking economy. And we went thrifting one day, and I fucking loved it because I don't care what I find. Like, I'm a smaller size, so I'm like, this is easy, man. I'll find shitloads of stuff. And I texted her yesterday about doing something, and I go, we can like run to Goodwill, or we could go to thrift at the place, or we could shop here or there. And she's like, well, thrifting's not really for me. So, but we could always find a cute town to shop in. And I'm like, the old me, which is probably 6 months ago, would have been like, I'm not important enough for you to run into Goodwill. You have to earn my, you know what I mean? It's like, if I was really important, you would be among the smelly clothes on the rack, you know? And it's like, no, she shouldn't. It's proving yourself that gets you in trouble. I've tried to prove myself to people that I'm indispensable and flexible. And really, then it crumbles because I'm not being real.
Yeah.
So I think it's just going, maybe there's the other friend who likes the thrift places. Or maybe it's just, I hate that everything is acceptance. Everything is accepting people how they are because they're not going to be anything else.
I also like that your friend's not a people pleaser. She didn't just say yes.
The bitch is never a people pleaser.
She's like, here's how I really feel. And that's a sign of love and respect and good boundaries. I want to see you, but here's what I'm saying no to this, but I still want to see you. Can we do something else?
Because such a similar thing happened with the same person 2 months ago when she had mentioned a very bougie store that I didn't want to go to in a very bougie town. I'm like allergic to those places now. I used to live in those places. I don't like being around rich white people exclusively. I just go, oh gosh, I don't like those kind of places anymore. Can we skip that one? And she's like, sure, I don't care. So I think it's this whole thing of like going, oh, you don't have to keep proving yourself to people.
You're being authentic. And that makes the friendship even stronger because then you trust that you're telling each other you're honest. Yeah. And that only enhances a friendship.
Oh my God, Anna, are you kidding me? You're like the faking expert. No, thank you so much for doing this. This was so generous of you to come in and to come up to the studio. It's a pain in the ass. I totally appreciate it. So I think we're like at least acquaintances at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I just feel so lucky to know you.
You're so welcome.
I love your work. I love that you're sharing my work with other people. So
of course.
Thank you for having me on.
It was literally hilarious. I was like, we don't have guests on this show. Wait, Anna's going to come in. Because like, I fucking want to know so much about this subject, you know? So we'll do it again. I have 8,000 more questions. So thank you so much. Once again, the book is Modern Friendship. Where can they find that?
Oh my gosh, it's anywhere.
Everywhere. And also, where can they find you on social media, etc.?
You can find me at Anna Goldfarb on Instagram.
Very good.
My Substack, Friendship Explained.
Oh, fuck. How do I not know about this?
I have a fun Substack. It's just annagoldfarb.substack.com. But it was recently called Wise But Silly. And I'm like, that's totally that encapsulates. And, you know, I just really share friendship tidbits, and I want people to feel empowered and feel optimistic. Like,
yes. Like, I will read that. And also, you're a really good writer. Like, there's a lot of books out there, a lot of advice, a lot of kind of deep dives into these issues. But I'm like, oh, you're entertaining. You're a good writer. Having been a journalist years ago, I'm like, oh my God, this is interesting. It's written so I get enough information, but it's also good narrative. I love story. I love that you put yourself in there a lot. So works for me. Sign off. Get it now. And thank you seriously so much for coming in, dude. You're a light.
My pleasure.
So listen, here's where I play and where I talk and try to sound very spontaneous. Thanks for listening. Oh, it's so fucking insincere also. Thanks for listening. Be sure to email. Hey, Celia, why don't you do this shit?
You want me to?
Well, you're sitting there doing nothing.
I'm not doing nothing.
You're sitting there playing with your fucking twat. Get over here. Earn your keep. Why don't you read it? And we're leaving all this in, by the way, because it's funny. Oh, wait. Why aren't you using the golden microphone?
I'm not allowed.
Oh, that's the powers that be.
Yeah, nobody is allowed to use it.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so do you need the script?
Yes, I do.
Shit,
Sorry.
how can I criticize you if I don't see? Okay, so this is Celia, our producer, who I imagine has been doing nothing the whole time except being on TikTok watch me get ready videos.
I wish that was true.
Wait. How is it? Get ready with me. GRWM. So stupid. And she watches people get dressed. I don't get it. I don't like it. These kids this age, I'll never be friends with you.
Oh.
Just kidding. Our values are the same. Okay, go.
Okay. Thanks, guys, for listening.
You're welcome.
Be sure to email us your questions at shrinkthisShow@gmail.com.
Wait, how do you spell that?
You don't know how to spell shrink.
How do you spell that, Celia?
SHRINKTHIS SHOW. That's 2 S's back to back.
Oh my God, I'm so confused right now.
Right?
At where?
So shrinkthisShow@gmail.com.
Oh, the dreaded snort laugh.
Make sure to follow Lisa on all socials at Lisa Lampanelli.
Yes.
And make sure to continue to listen to Shrink This on your iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Ta-da!
Yay!
We have just elevated ourselves from bitchy coworkers to besties. Thanks again for listening to Shrink This with Lisa Lampanelli. Bye. Oh, f- you.